This is why we shouldn't do podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh. I have a channel called Product Placement Paranoia, and I'm here with Conquest.
My wife divorced me.
He owns a channel, Star Garnet Studios, and
I'm one part of a channel, Star Garnet Studios. Thank you very much.
yes, and Captain America,
Daddy.
who has the automatic machine as his channel.
Machines.
The automatic machines. God, I'm fucking up your channels. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, why did you introduce us?
I don't know.
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
I felt like I thought
Introducing
I'd
us
try
wrong.
something a bit different. That's all.
But you introduced us wrong.
All right, fine. Then how about next time, one of you introduce me and the other person, and I'll just keep my fucking mouth shut.
Or we could do like Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and we could each say one word at a time.
Or we can not do that.
Or we could be like the Three Stooges and just hit each other and be like, eh.
It's on hitting Josh.
And I'll hit Cap.
And I will hit Conquest, I guess.
You can't reach the top of my head.
Let me at him. Let me at him. Oh,
Yeah, bring it on,
Stop
though.
it, you nugheads.
Curly will kick your ass.
I might want to watch the whole Three Stooges skits. I have a thing for
Josh,
old 40s
Larry.
shows and movies. I like them. The black and white. I'm a weird person
not,
that way.
Bald or chubby, though.
I'm so weird, I guess.
Yeah, but think about Larry's personality traits and tell me it doesn't match.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Anyways, there's something that I kind of want to discuss, and this might be more relevant and be more punny later on in the show. I want to discuss the letter I. I is like...
you are a narcissist?
No, the letter I is like the 9th letter in the alphabet, I believe.
Is it now?
I think it is. I know J is the 10th one.
It isn't.
It is. It is. Let me count. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. I was right. I just looked at my fingers and counted them, so...
I would just like to point out, I just got him to announce over a third of the alphabet on air.
I is my new pronoun, by the way. But...
I was always your pronoun, again, going back to the narcissist thing.
You guys are making my head hurt. Stop it.
Okay, let's make your head hurt less. What do you think of the letter I, Captain?
I before E except after C?
I think this is a stupid bit.
So that's what you think?
I agree.
Alright. Well...
I think we should be talking about the letter U.
I'd rather talk about the letter O. As in, oh my god. Oh my god.
Shut the fuck. First of all, Usher doesn't say it like that.
So I give I a 9 out of 10. It is excellent. What do you guys give it?
A 9 out of 27.
A letter?
Yeah.
Yes.
What score
9
would
out
you
of
give
26, dumbass.
I thought you'd give it a 9 out of 11 or something.
Time out. Where did you get 27?
Because ampersand used to be a part of the alphabet, and I was trying to see if you'd call me out on it. I was trying to see if you would call me out on it.
Wait, the letter
you got what you fucking wanted.
The letter I is in the word 9, right? And then there's like 3, the number 3 for Illuminati. 9 times 3 equals 27, no. So there's how you get 27.
Where the hell did you get the number 3?
Oh,
Illuminati, like Illuminati confirmed 3.
Yes.
3 is in 3 sides of the triangle. Anyways, whatever.
I can get down with that.
You know what? There's been like a dozen letters that have been added and removed to the English alphabet as we know it, right?
Really?
They need to bring the thorn back. I missed the thorn.
There are tons of characters that came from Gaelic and Saxon that you just wouldn't even recognize, but you can still find in written text. Because English, as we understand it, really didn't come about until the mid-18th century, at the earliest.
English is just like an orgy of Latin, German, and like the Romantics.
Yeah, I mean, the Latin comes from French, but, pretty much same difference.
Just keep in mind that my channel, Product Placement Paranoia, is a shitpost channel, so I will say some shitpost things like discussing the fucking letter in the alphabet every now and again. So
Really? That's all this was, is a fucking plug for your channel?
no, not really. It was just me.
I mean, if we're
being
gonna plug
stupid.
shit, I ate a bunch of different kinds of syrup, including one like habanero syrup.
Yeah.
That's not
Going on my channel here soon.
I hope you guys all get arrested and they throw the book at you. Which, speaking of, I have a book coming out sometime next year. So be on the lookout for
Ow. What's it about?
it. I'm not gonna say yet.
Dude, I'm knee walking drunk and
Dude,
even my blog was more
It's gonna
smooth
be
than
the
that.
next Game of Thrones. I was actually
A
working on a
Song of
script.
Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
If you're gonna reference the book, get the title right.
No, I'm gonna call it Game of Thrones.
Not a single one of the books was ever called Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was
First one.
the first one.
Yeah, the first one was.
Song of Ice and Fire.
It
The
was
first
Game of
book
Thrones.
was called Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it's all
first book
Song
was
of Ice
called
and
Game of
Fire.
Thrones.
The
No.
series is called A Song of Ice and Fire. But the first book was called The Game of Thrones, and it was Clash of Kings.
Yeah.
Storm of Swords, Feast for Crows.
No, all those last podcasts of you making us look like an idiot, now we're making you look like an idiot.
Because you know the names of some shitty books. Good job.
The books
Hey,
were
they're not
good. The
shitty.
TV
They're
shows
phenomenal. What?
sucked. Yeah, the TV show sucked. The books were good.
Pulp
The TV show
fantasy.
doesn't suck. Just 7 and 8. But, that's another rant for another day.
They're pulp fantasy. From an author that is way overhyped.
Okay,
I'll take Tolkien or C.S. Lewis any day of the week over Martin.
The guy pretty much had wet dreams of Tolkien. I mean, he even stole the 2R middle initial.
Oh, God.
He
Now
stole
I got
everything
Tokyo
from
Mew
Tolkien.
Mew in my head. Fuck.
The entire book series is essentially just Lord of the Rings fan fiction, but written from the mind of an edgelord who didn't go to Vietnam.
I'll make him watch it one day.
Hey, he had bone spurs, okay?
So did Donald Trump. What's your point?
That was my point.
But what George R. R. Martin actually had was a bad case of fat ass syndrome.
Had? You mean has? Present tense.
Are you sure you're not talking about Adele?
Wait, who?
Adele's like 240 at her heaviest.
She lost a shit ton of weight.
She's
She's
as
like
fat as a
unrecognizable
whale
now.
from Free Willy.
All right,
She's never even been like. She's never been obese. Like maybe a little overweight in her early years.
Wait, what did Adele ever do to you?
Yeah,
She made that Hello song that made me want to go goodbye.
She's one of the most acclaimed songwriters the last decade.
Going back to the writing, did I ever tell you that I was actually kind of writing my ideas down for like a comic book idea or a movie idea?
Oh boy.
All I could say, I can't really tell you the specific details of it or even the name, but I will say that it's basically, those superhero movies doing like anti-heroes and shit. Well, this one is the one in which I think would be done right if it were made into a real thing.
There are tons of them done right though.
Not really.
Deadpool.
Venom, that shit was fucking terrible. Birds
Venom
of
was
Prey,
fine,
that shit was fucking terrible.
Birds of Prey wasn't about anti-heroes.
It
Venom
basically was.
fine. Not really.
It basically was. Birds of
It was
Prey.
it was a Harley Quinn solo movie.
Yeah, but Harley
with
Quinn fights
a
a
side
bad guy.
plot of Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey were never anti-heroes though. They're vigilantes, but if they're anti-heroes, so is Batman, Superman. Pretty much the entire Justice League is an extrajudicial
Those
team.
people are more like superheroes, though.
Not all of them. Again,
everyone
Batman,
looks up to them. I mean, Spider-Man is more of a
Green
fucking
Arrow,
anti-hero
Flash.
than Batman, dude.
No,
Spider-Man
he's really not.
Yeah, I was. Because in Spider-Man,
Have you ever read that?
there
I
were
don't think
people
you've ever
who
read a
didn't like
single
him.
Spider-Man comic in your life.
No, but I'm familiar with the cartoons. There's like people out there who see Spider-Man as the enemy.
Familiar with.
Okay, maybe not the best.
Yeah, people
one.
like J. Jonah Jameson, who was a.
What about X-Men? X-Men is more of an anti-hero show than fucking
was
Batman.
it?
Yeah, everyone hated the mutants.
It was an allegory for civil rights, dumbass.
Alright, so we're all nerds. We've established that.
Let's go into non-nerdy territory. What's very non-nerdy?
Literally none of our topics are going to be non-nerdy.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point of this little project here.
Yeah.
So are we jumping into the Electro Rock nightmare that was the Smashing Pumpkins' 1998 disaster?
Called a nightmare or disaster.
Was it a disaster?
Really? Behind the scenes? Fuck yeah, it was a disaster.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Oh, definitely.
Their bassist overdosed on heroin, and he had to fire his best friend and drummer, who's basically the only original member left in the band at that point.
It also divided fans, right? It was like the
no, it chased away all their fans.
Yeah.
So
didn't so much as Joe wanted them as much as it did demonstrate critics versus fans.
Basically.
I mean, a lot of albums are made under turmoil. I mean, look at Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. I mean, the band was pretty much trying to kill each other at that point, and it's one of the greatest albums of all time.
Let's look at Paula by Robin Thicke.
Let's not look at anything by Robin Thicke, please. Please. Nothing by Robin Thicke. Just
I'm going to bring
nothing.
It up again. I'm going to bring it up again.
Well, I won't be there for when you bring it up. I'll have to be gone.
You don't want to, Josh? You know you want to.
Oh, no. I know I don't want it.
You know you want to?
I know I don't want to rip off of every Michael Jackson song. Anyways.
What the fuck are you talking about? Michael Jackson and Robin Thicke are not similar.
In Blurred Lines, there's a bit of there's a bit of Michael Jackson influence, especially with the "oh."
If you think that literally any R&B is similar, but
yeah, falsetto is incredibly common in that musical genre.
Fucking shit. So
hold on. He's also a Justin Timberlake ripoff.
Hold on one second. I'm just. Captain, we're getting a bit off topic here. So, listen, Captain, how about you tell us what we're reviewing and what the album is? What was it we're talking about here?
The album we are talking about today is "Adore" by the Smashing Pumpkins, which was released in 1998. It was the fourth album, and as Conquest had mentioned, the drummer had just left. He was replaced by an ensemble of drummers.
Fired.
Okay.
Yeah, he was fired for
Chamberlain got the shit can because he refused to go to rehab, and Billy Corgan was slowly turning into. I don't want to use the word Nazi because I feel like Nazi's overused, but authoritarian dictator.
He was turning into
also happened to be a skinhead.
So he was basically
coincidental. I don't think that was.
What's his fucking name?
Here's your fucking conspiracy theory.
So
the
just
Pink Floyd singer.
Preface before we go further into this.
Not David Gilmour. He's the guitar player. Yeah, Roger Waters.
Before we go any further, I would just like to warn the listeners to be prepared for any spontaneous Billy Corgan impressions, because it's probably going to happen by at least one of them.
Today is the greatest day you've ever known. Just because you said it, I had to.
Yeah. I found the album pretty forgettable, honestly. Like, I can barely remember a single song off of it.
I can remember quite a bit about it because it very much was a disaster. And you very much can hear it all throughout the album. I very much wish that we would have done Metallica's Black.
I don't know. It just sounded like a typical generic goth rock shit. Or
it wasn't goth rock.
I thought it was more somber, stripped down, sometimes even melancholy.
It's been listed as
you
gothic
can say
rock.
It was stripped down, but it was no melancholy.
It's listed as gothic rock, but I'm looking at
gothic
Wikipedia.
Rock and goth rock are two very different things.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because gothic means it's
goth rock is like typo. Goth rock is like typo negative.
Or
Hypo Negative does not sound anything like this.
or Lacuna Coil. You'd consider them goth rock, probably.
Symphonic metal.
Really,
talk about music.
I think they're goth rock, but I could be
So
wrong.
many fucking subgenres. Anyway,
I think that they definitely fall under symphonic metal. I agree with Cap.
Evanescence is arena rock.
Gone are the guitars, in are pianos and various synthesizers, almost creating a soundscape with Billy Corgan's telltale vocals, overshadowing everything else.
You know, there's actually one or maybe two songs that I definitely could hear a bit of influence from Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" album. Just with the electronic stuff where it goes.
Yeah, the electronic stuff was actually in because that was what was relevant and alternative at the time.
Yeah,
I can demonstrate that with the fact that it sounds just like REM's Up, an album that came out basically at the same time with basically the same issues, since they also had a member overdose and also fired a drummer and also lost one of their main songwriters, and it also had development cycle known as the development cycle of hell, because I just fumbled over my own sentence. So they're incredibly similar albums.
Well, clearly you listen to more music than me. I thought I listened to a shitload of it, but look what
Some of the Pink Floyd parallels too, like especially in For Martha, where at a certain point an electric guitar rises above the sea of instruments.
Do you guys remember? Sorry, continue.
No, it just rises above as it's the guitar is still alive somewhere in this instrumentational disaster piece.
So, do you guys remember when that One Directioner's album came out, and he hyped it up, and the label hyped it up as being reminiscent of David Bowie and Queen and Pink Floyd and
Harry
70s
Styles?
rock? Yes, that's the one.
Oh,
you guys remember when? Yeah, you remember when
that.
he hyped up? Okay, can I finish my? Remember when he hyped up his album like that, and then the label hyped it up like that, and then his bandmate hyped it up like that, and then actual 80s and 90s rock stars who didn't actually know the music that he was talking about started tweeting at him about how great his album was and how it reminded them of that. It sounded nothing fucking like that.
I thought it was just for the one song.
And wanted to connect it to something that is commonly known as positive.
I thought it was just Sign of the Times. It was the entire
album that they claimed that about.
Really?
It was all just slow piano ballads that are reminiscent of everything else that was on the charts at the time, and everyone was just giving confirmation bias because they wanted to blow it, metaphorically speaking, because it was total critic pander bait.
Well, it's not the first time.
Compare this album to Pink Floyd sounds like the same thing.
Well, it's not the first time that an artist has done that. I mean, going back to the last video we mentioned, Asking Alexandria, basically they said about pretty much all their albums, oh, it's gonna sound like Bon Jovi or Guns N' Roses and shit, and then you listen to the actual album, it sounds fucking nothing like that.
Yeah, except they at least kind of sound like that. This is
not really
so far off the base of Pink Floyd. I don't even understand how you guys can think that, other than the fact that it's sure similar to BPM.
There's
For Martha, where there's just like the synth waves and the pianos, and like the first solo in Comfortably Numb, the guitar just came out of nowhere, because before that it was just a mismatch of all kinds of instrumentation.
I wish I remembered the song that had that Pink Floyd thing from Wish You Were Here. If I knew the song, I could like provide that as evidence for
what you guys are saying is that because they both use modified blues scales and modified blues chord progressions, it reminds you of Pink Floyd, even though almost all rock has used those same progressions, and by that logic, slower Nirvana songs sound just like Pink Floyd.
No, because there's other instruments at play here. There's similar instrumentation to Pink Floyd with the synths.
Yeah, because they have the same 5-piece setup, but that doesn't mean that sounds like Pink Floyd. Duran had the same 5-piece setup.
I didn't say it sounded. I said it sounds similar to Pink Floyd.
I don't think it sounds similar to all those. What I'm saying.
It doesn't sound completely similar to Pink Floyd.
I'll give you. It sounds fucking melancholic as hell, just like Pink Floyd.
The
Pink
whole
Floyd
mood was
is.
Pink Floyd,
I won't
beginning
take
of
that,
Comfortably
man.
Numb. That's the vibe I got.
Don't you dare call Pink Floyd that. That's
That
mean.
just sounds like disaffected heroin users, though. That's how like most grunge and alt rock and old school 70s rock sounds to me.
Okay,
I mean,
now
I
I'm
don't
really
think that they're
offended by what
similar.
you're saying, because I do
Yeah.
heroin, you fuck.
Yeah, you don't forget, we got an addict here.
Well,
Then
I'm
Then
not
this
an
should be
addict.
your
I only
fucking
do it
music.
once a week.
Bass
when I'm
player
recording
fucking
with you
overdosed on
guys.
heroin right before they started recording the album. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And David Chamberlain was fucking high on the shit
lot
all the
of-
time. That's why he got fired.
So, in my eyes, this is the soundtrack to staring out your 18th floor studio apartment window and watching the rain splatter on the streets. That's
You know what it really reminds me of?
What?
What?
Yeah, aforementioned Paula by Robin Thicke, as well as Here My Dear, Marvin Gaye, and as I said, Us by R.E.M. All three albums were made in complete and total emotional freefall. All three albums were made by artists that were completely and totally breaking apart the seams. All three albums were made by artists suffering from a tumultuous home life. All three albums came from artists that had lost huge parts of their life and huge parts of their songwriting group. It matches up so perfectly, it's not even funny. All three of them were disastrous records. All three of them showed poor performance compared to the others. All three of them had a horrible receiving it when they launched, and then had better reviews as they were reissued.
There's another parallel that you're going to be mad at me for saying, but it also fits the bill here.
All three suck.
Pink Floyd's Final Cut. You know, all the band members were non-existent. This time the keyboard player was fired, and it was essentially all the other band members found their roles mitigated to the point where it's essentially a Billy Corgan solo album. You know,
I mean, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with it. I feel like you're hyping up Pink Floyd, though, because they're like your dream band, and you just never shut up about Pink Floyd. No offense.
not true. There's plenty of bands. It's just Pink Floyd's kind of like just been the hot button here. But for the record, I hate the Final Cut. It fucking sucks. But
Okay, not now, Cap. Not now, Con. We gotta get on with the show.
For fuck's sake. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage here. So
I fucking love that song. I wish that song
You're
was
my
like
lover, you're
included
my
on
hero.
the album. What made it
Why
a
would
lot
you-
more memorable, that's for fucking sure.
hey guys, you want to go for a ride?
Go for a ride on the crazy train, or
I'm your zero. I'm your face when your dreams are black. It's another song off of Melancholy.
Cleanliness
okay.
is next to godliness, and God is empty, just like me.
I don't really listen to much of Smashing Pumpkins, but
Oh my god!
I listened back to some of their older stuff. Or
Clearly not
their
enough. It sounds
hit
like you listened to one song.
Their hit songs and I recognize them because I've heard them on the radio. So I'm like, oh, it's you guys. Yeah, I don't mind those songs. And I'm like, yeah, I
So
might want to
they
listen
disarmed you
to
with a
them
smile?
more. Bullet with Butterfly Wings is probably my favorite of their entire discography. But
You really should
Who
listen to
isn't?
Zero. I'm amazed you haven't listened to Zero yet.
Zero?
He's got to know Zero.
I've probably
like,
heard Zero. I'm not sure.
You've been
though.
referencing Zero nonstop for the last like 5 minutes now, just back and forth.
Wait, me or you guys?
both of us.
Happened me.
Oh, yeah. The
Well,
only
you were
Zero I
rambling
know
about
is
Bull
by Crown the
Butterfly Wings
Empire,
here.
and
While
you
you're
know me,
rambling about
I'm into
Bull
that
Butterfly
new
Wings, you're
school
firing
shit.
back and forth.
all that old school shit. That's for fogies.
No, like
That was
I
the
just
cringiest
feel
thing I've ever heard.
I know.
Catcher in the Rye.
Subscribe to Product Placement Paranoia for more fun,
Oh,
epic
for
cringecore content.
Sake.
I think that's what's killing our views, is just his plugging of his absolutely awful meme channel.
Hey, really? I told you it's good dying yesterday. Not yesterday, the last week. My mind's not functioning properly.
Speaking of
I don't
angst,
have a perfect mind.
the angst here to me has kind of grown up a little bit. The rage, of the previous albums is long gone, and in its place is an infinite sadness. What
Can you
was
stop?
it used to be it's the equivalent of a teenager who grows up and moves to Manhattan to start their life, but never really starts, and they just continue the same patterns. But instead of the old thrill, is a newfound darkness and sadness.
Hello, darkness,
I'm
my
glad you
old
brought that up
friend.
because no, don't you dare bring Simon and Garfunkel into this. I'm gonna bring this back around to that whole comparison of moving to the big city, because you know what? A lot of the mood of this album reminded me of. It
Hmm.
reminded me of "American Idiot" by Green Day,
Really?
because the entire album tells a very similar story, which you'd know if you'd ever actually given the album a chance, but you haven't. It's about the main character is a disaffected teenager living in suburbia who then moves to the city to realize his dreams. When he fails, he has to move back home to suburbia and gets a desk job and long since forgets his party days. And the closing track is "What's Her Name?" It is an absolutely haunting, beautiful track, and the entire song is about him looking back melancholically on better days, looking back on his partying, looking back on that whole time period of his life, struggling to remember faces and names, including the face and the name of the woman he fell in love with, but he still can't let go of that magical feeling of nostalgia, that magical feeling of remembering the past. That's how this entire fucking album sounds, except done wrong, because that song is beautiful and one of the best Green Day's ever done.
I don't know because I don't really listen to much Green Day, nor do I care. Except for, that one
Yeah, you
from
don't care about anything though.
2020.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
directly
true.
Yeah.
I'm
affect
pretty.
you.
Well, I do put an effort into trying to care, at least. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about this album. I don't have any strong feelings about it either way. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm just like, this is a thing that exists. I'm indifferent to it is a problem. There's only like one song that really sticks out to me, and that's Perfect. And even then, that's pretty forgettable shit. I
Well,
mean, if
I'm
I
sorry,
turned
it
it on
can't be
now,
perfect.
yeah, I'm sorry too. But, shit happens.
Well, hey, nothing lasts forever.
You know what is perfect? Headley.
You know, Cap, he's never gonna get it. You can stop now.
Well, I'm having fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess that's the case. I don't really get it. I did read that they were like trying to stray away from their old sound and try something a bit different, but
that was Billy Corgan. He was trying to
yeah,
stray away from it. But
yeah,
I
he
feel
wanted
like
to do
the album
something a
is
bit
kind of
different.
representative of that point of the '90s and the maturation of Generation X towards the end of the decade, and the desire to have their voice and their own concerns and desires to be heard.
Yeah, he wanted his music to no longer just be the voice of like young angsty teenagers, but like the voice of, pretty much everyone. Like
Right.
people older than teenagers, adults and kids alike. At
Yeah,
least
it
that's what
was
I
just kind
read.
of whining about his relationships. And so one of the standout tracks to me was Ava Adore, uh, which
Yes,
clearly
I
was.
know that song too. That's the one which
Everyone hates that song though.
I'm not gonna lie, I
really
kind of enjoyed it.
I didn't hate
Um,
that song.
It's fan reception is the most cold weak on that track than any other track on pretty much any other album. It is easily the least well received lead single in their entire discography.
Really, that's interesting because I thought it
I mean,
was.
it's definitely not one of their strongest songs. I mean, I'll say it's probably one of the strongest songs on this album. Actually, the other two I liked were Fame and Crestfallen off of this. But I mean, Adore specifically, I mean, it was describing, a toxic relationship, you that I adore, you'll always be my whore. It's just,
How many songs
God.
about toxic relationships do we need? There's
I
so
mean, there's
fucking
From Billy
many of
Corgan?
them. Even back
From Billy
then.
Corgan Billy Corgan, there is never enough though. That man somehow manages to date only the worst of women, and he always, always, always pumps out songs about it. And 9 times out of
well,
10, those songs are amazing.
He's a gender swapped Taylor Swift, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I wonder if metalcore was heavily
Don't even
influenced
think
by Billy Corgan.
metalcore is heavily influenced by grunge.
But
He is
I
one of
mean,
the
like
faces of
their
grunge.
lyrical shit.
Well,
I think that's just you confusing correlation and causation.
I mean,
I
I'm not gonna
guess.
lie. I feel like the songwriting style and structuring set the tone for a lot of early 2000s bands, including Chevelle, Jimmy Eat World, Coldplay, and Breaking Benjamin. Billy Corgan actually wrote a couple songs helped co-write a couple songs off Breaking Benjamin's second album, We Are Not Alone.
That's probably why I couldn't get into that one either.
I enjoy We Are Not Alone,
I
but that
enjoyed Phobia.
but that's just
I
topic for
enjoyed
another.
better bands.
That's good. Me too. I don't think Breaking Benjamin's like the best band ever. They only have one album I like. The rest of them are kind of bland.
Well,
But
Breaking
going back to
Benjamin
Smashing
based out
Pumpkins,
insult them. By the way, Green Day sold out with American Idiot.
yeah, they
By
did.
the way, no, they didn't. By the way, neither one of you have listened to the album front to back, and I doubt that
I
you guys have ever even fully listened to every
I'm
single that
just
came off the
blindly
album.
agreeing so we could go back to Smashing Pumpkins for a bit
I,
because you
I
mentioned
have,
Ava
but it's been
Adore.
about 10 years.
I
So,
mean, that's
move on.
another song that stands out to me because that's one of the more rock sort of songs or more rockin' songs, while the rest of them are just kind of slow ballady shit.
I mean, I dare say it even has like a little bit of an industrial feel to with
I
like the
guess.
programmed drums
Yeah.
and
In the sense that it sounds like Nine Inch Nails at their worst.
Mm-hmm. There's
I
like
mean,
one major
more or less.
complaint I have about that album, Adore, and the main complaint I have about it is the final track, 17. Why the fuck is it even on the album, and why the fuck did it have to end like that? It's just like really shitty sound quality piano playing for 17 seconds, and that's it. Is that like supposed to be some sort of joke?
It's an outro.
Yeah,
I-
it's like the shittiest outro I've ever heard.
No, it's actually probably one of the highlights of the entire album.
Yeah,
It wraps up the entire
album.
message very well.
That it sounds like shit.
No,
It
The
sounds
song
like shit.
is
It's
called
so
17 and
nebulous,
it's
though.
17 seconds. I'm guessing that's a joke. It would have been funnier if they made it track 17 of a 17 album track affair on this album.
So this
Or
album
maybe
was
you're
initially
missing the deeper
intended.
point.
And the
This was
song before it
intended to
was
be a
just a
double
bunch of.
album, but the record company said, "Fuck no, we already did that once. You're not doing that again." So it
You
was
know
a
what I
single.
find funny?
But yeah, I
For
thought it
all of
sounded
the
bad.
for all that Billy Corgan wanted to get away from melancholy and wanted to get away from Siamese Dream, he ended up creating another album that's just like them, but this time it's got fucking face paint on it.
Right. Yeah, it's.
I mean, honestly, it's incredibly similar to the two, except instead of having grunge undertones, it has fucking really shitty late 90s alt rock undertones.
And
I mean,
then
Sounds like late
it
era
carried up
REM.
to the 2000s with bands that you described, like Jimmy Eat World and shit, right?
Jimmy Eat World's a pop punk band, man.
Oh, what was the other bands you mentioned that pretty much had that same sound?
Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle.
Yeah.
Chevelle and who else? I thought you mentioned
Coldplay.
Jimmy Eat World.
Coldplay kind of has like some of like their early Coldplay, like Yellow, kind of steals the same,
Oh.
whiny vocals over.
And then there was this fourth
Yeah,
band. I thought you mentioned Jimmy Eat World.
He said Jimmy Eat World, but Jimmy Eat World doesn't fall into that kind of tone. That's why I ignored it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm confused of the three bands you hooked onto that one because the other three bands sound almost identical. At least
Okay,
lyrically
well,
speaking.
good news, Conquest. You made me and Cap look like idiots again, so you once again have more power than us. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't get if you're being passive aggressive or what, but
I don't really
I'm just being sarcastic.
I'm not gonna lie.
I guess it didn't land well.
I needed a fourth example, and I couldn't come up with a good one. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, Jimmy World kind of fits the bill. Hopefully they don't call me out on this.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was gonna throw in a fourth band, it would probably be someone more like My Chemical Romance.
I've actually never really listened to them, so
I
I
have.
They're a little
They
more
reminded me of a
power
little bit like
pop.
Green Day.
They don't sound like Green Day at all. You have no
I guess
taste in
I only
music.
heard like one song by them that sounded Green Day-ish. I think it was the Black Parade or something.
Sounds nothing like a Green Day song.
Well, I got Green Day vibes from it, so.
Because it
okay.
talked about teenage angst and struggling with
No, because the
emotions?
guitar riff sounded like something that I would hear on a Green Day song. Just a couple
How?
guitar riffs, not like the whole song.
Because it's in the
Circling
same
back,
key as a bit of Boulevard of Broken Dreams? That's the only thing I can think of that would even remotely remind you of Green Day.
Maybe, I
It
don't
doesn't.
know.
so this was a loosely formatted concept album. So the song 17 is an end cap of said concept album, and as its own merit, it's not a great song. Just like Outside the Wall at the end of the wall is not a great song on its own, but it fits the overall theme and message that he's trying to send, which is why
Yeah,
it
because
found its way on the album.
those songs are never meant to be singles. They're never meant to be listened to on their own. They're only meant to be listened to as a part of an album.
Out of context,
You're
they
talking
make
about
sense.
a door, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the
I
outside
could
or outside
actually
the wall
listen
or
to a couple songs off the album without listening to the rest of them. I could
but
do
we're
that.
not talking about those songs, we're talking about 17 in the album
Yeah.
closing.
Oh, yeah, 17. Well, that one just shouldn't have been on the album.
I just said why it makes sense in context.
Really?
Because it's a concept album, a loose concept album, but it's still a concept album, and it fits the overarching theme and narrative as a end cap, much like Outside the Wall, or I can't think of anything else right now, but Outside the Wall. But
Outside the Wall by Pink Floyd, right?
yes,
I see.
we
No,
try to get away from
outside the
Outside the
wall by
Wall's actually
Skrillex.
better.
yeah.
It has more context and shit.
I mean, there's definitely a better song named 17.
Yeah.
Edge of 17 comes to mind. 17 by Winger does not come to mind.
I was gonna throw in See the Light.
I was just
Oh,
going
yeah.
to say that at least that song 17 is better than the entirety of 17 by XXX Tentacle Hentai. If that's what his
Okay,
name
then.
is. I forgot what
You
his
know
name
it's
is.
not.
Oh.
See the Light by Green Day, though, another album closer, 21st Century Breakdown. That's just what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Great.
So, any other things you guys want to say about this before we give it our final
Um,
thoughts?
I compared it to the other Disaster albums. I pointed out the fact that the entire thing very much fits into its era, and that's not a good thing. I pointed out that it sounds nothing like the rest. Oh yeah, this album was fucking loved by critics. It got nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Alternative Album.
Really?
Pitchfork and Rolling Stone filleted it to the point where I'm surprised Billy Corgan's dick isn't just constantly soaking in critics' semen or critics' spit rather.
Critic semen.
He,
We'll stick with that.
yeah, whatever. It
Let's come
was
on his
absolutely
dick.
adored by critics, and I feel like that is the biggest detriment I could ever say about the album.
Billy Corgan's dick is covered in cum. Jesus Christ.
That's a soundbite.
So, what Conquest would it be fair if we were to say that you adore this album?
No, it would not be fair to say that because I just described why I don't adore this album. The pun you should have made in the first place.
Are you going to rate
Well-
it a 0?
Oh, no, I'm not that mean.
No.
I mean, I almost want to for the bit, but, you know.
It probably deserves a 4. Would you say it deserves
no,
a 4?
It's professionally recorded, and that's about it. Everything about it is lackluster and makes me wish I was listening to a better Smashing Pumpkins album. There's nothing about this album that I can think of that would ever draw me back to it again. I didn't like it before we reviewed it. I don't like it while we review it, and I will never listen to it again if I can avoid it. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10 just because it's professionally done.
Well, 2 out of 10 means it's pretty unprofessional and shit. A 4 out of 10
I
would
give
base on the
one-
fact that it's like a It's well
Pretty
made
entirely
for the most
subjective.
part. It knows what it's trying to do and it accomplishes it well, but
Give the
at the
man
same
a
time,
break.
it's not very
Can
good.
I explain?
Okay, fine. Fine.
One point is for a professional recording. Another point is for professional mixing and mastering, demonstrating that they were capable of putting together a functional record. I would give a third point if it was well written, but again, everything else about it sucked. I would give another point if it was acceptably written and the music was at least competent. And then at that point, you get a 5, which is a mediocre record.
I see.
For
So
me,
that's how you
I
do
thought
your
it was
rating.
a good album to cook dinner to, but it lacks any actual dynamic to warrant a more involved listen. Even though it clocks in at 73 minutes, I found myself disappointed that it was over. It left me feeling unfulfilled,
Yeah, because
perhaps
there was
because it was
nothing good on the
lacking.
album.
Well, perhaps it was because it was lacking any emotional climax that it had spent the entire album leading up to, only to end on a few somber piano notes. So for that, I will rate it a 6 out of 10. I didn't hate it. I thought it was
Giving it a
well,
better than average.
because I feel like it was better than average. I mean, there was a couple
I don't even
standout
think it's
tracks.
better than average on the grading scale of just Smashing Pumpkins records.
I mean, compared to the rest of their material, I'm assuming it is like their worst album, like it's Metallica's Saint Anger, but Smashing
Yeah,
Pumpkins, right?
I mean, I don't know about that.
Machina 1 and 2.
I mean, they're off the beaten path. They're both not very well received by fans. Let's ignore the
Saint Anger
critics
kind
for
of
a second.
It took probably about 10 years, but Saint Anger grew on me.
I guess.
But
I mean, plus there are a lot more rejected albums from Smashing Pumpkins. A
Really?
lot.
So
We want
this
a deep
isn't
dive.
their
We can
worst one.
absolutely do. I wouldn't say it's their worst one, to be honest.
Really?
Off the top of my head, there's Machina, Zeitgeist,
Gish?
and Machina 2, all off the top of my head.
What about Gish?
it's a
That's
debut
their
album.
first album. Yeah, it's hard
Oh.
to.
Well, I didn't know
Yeah.
that because I don't do enough research.
Gish was their debut album. It came out in '91. Then came
Okay.
Siamese Dream, Melancholy, and The Door.
I thought
Yeah.
the one with Bullet with Butterfly Wings was their first album.
Their
No,
third
that's,
album.
Song. The third
Yes.
album? That was
Melancholy?
The Aeroplane Flies High?
What?
That was their third album, right? The Aeroplane Flies High? Or was that an EP?
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. They don't have an album called The Airplane Flies High. Are you thinking of Airplane by Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, The
also
Aeroplane
wasn't their third
Flies
album?
High. Okay, it's a 5-disc box set released by American alternative rock band The Smashing Pumpkins. Okay. So it's not... I guess it's not
You're
that.
talking about box? No.
No, I guess it's a best of Smashing
the
Pumpkins
compilation.
list. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I
That's
got
compilation.
confused. Fucking stupid ass Wikipedia.
But I mean, at no point did at any point did I feel like, God, this is unlistenable. Just turn this off. I mean, it wasn't good. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't captivating, but I mean, it was a good sound. I mean, I listened to it the past 2 days when I was cooking dinner. I mean, it wasn't.
For me, the album being 75 minutes long, it actually went by quite fast for me. And I actually kind of appreciate that because, long albums can be pretty annoying and boring and
So if you don't think
just a
75 minutes
miserable
is
experience.
long, what do you think is a long album?
89 minutes, Lulu by Metallica and Lou Reed. That's a long one.
Hey, have you guys ever heard
anyways.
Dope Smoker by Sleep?
No. Anyways, I didn't hate this album, but I'm never gonna listen to it again. I think Perfect was an okay song, even though I don't really remember it, but if someone
You didn't
played
think it
that
was
song,
perfect?
I'd be like, yeah, this song's okay. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, because I feel indifferent to it.
Fair.
And, You said something about what's it called again, Captain?
Oh, Dope Smoker by Sleep. It is a 75-minute long song.
75-minute long song. Wow.
Yes,
Damn.
by
That's a long
by
ass
the stoner
song.
metal band Sleep. It's essentially the same riff over and over again. I mean, it's awesome. It's badass. But holy fuck.
Okay.
But, that's,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to listen to that.
If you got 75 minutes to kill and
I'm
don't
trying
care
to
what
think
to listen
what
to.
Well,
I'm trying to think of how
if
you
it's
think
one
75 minutes isn't a
song,
long album.
well, 75 minutes is long. I'm just saying it went by quickly for me.
I only think of
Because there
like
wasn't
4 or 5
much.
albums that can even beat
Yeah.
that.
You know, there are like some albums, but also like some shows and some movies that are long, like bringing back like say Venom. Though it's 2 hours long, but I watch it and it feels like it's like an hour and a half long or something. You know, that's kind of how Smashing Pumpkins' Adore felt to me. It felt like it didn't feel like it was a 75-minute album. It felt like it was around like a it felt like it was like a 40 to 45-minute album for me. It went by
Even that'd
quickly.
be kind of even that'd be kind of beefy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
mean,
just my
shit.
opinion. It went by quickly for me. Probably dragged on for you,
On
but for me it didn't.
Undone Blondes is 73 minutes. That one Captain Beefheart record's like 79. Pink Floyd's
Metallica
The Wall is 80.
Well,
Load by
Pink Floyd's The
Metallica is
Wall
78
is
minutes.
80 minutes of
the White Album's like
phenomenal.
93 minutes.
Wow, really?
Beatles' White Album? Yeah,
Yeah, wow.
like 93 minutes long.
How many
Uh,
songs?
Metallica's Hardwired's like 100 minutes, isn't
Oh
it?
god.
Speaking of the Beatles, George Harrison's concert for Bangladesh is like 99 minutes long. It's a triple LP.
Dream Theater's
I
Astonishing
just
is like
can't.
2 hours.
I just can't. I'll just say
Not
I
good, but
just can't. Okay?
The White Album's actually an amazing listen. It's
Yeah,
considered
I'm
one
not
of,
talking
if
about
not
the
the
White
greatest
Album.
album.
I'll listen to that shit. Just not
for
on
everyone.
headphones, because, you know, Beatles sound kind of shit on headphones. For me, personally.
What?
I mean, I heard some of their songs. They sound kind of shit on the headphones. Like, guitar in one ear, the drums in the other, and then, like, the singing in, like, one ear, and
Such a vague.
it just sounds...
Weren't they recorded mono, I thought?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, how the fuck are you hearing that?
I think your headphones
I
are
mean,
broken.
just... No. They're perfectly well-functioning headphones.
Or you're
Sony.
listening to weird versions
Sony,
of the songs
Bose,
because I can't think of.
Sennheisers, those high-quality headphones, I listen to them, and they don't sound good on headphones. They sound great, like, on speakers and on the radio and shit, but I
Well,
can't
I own
listen
the
to them
same
on
kind of
headphones.
AKGs that were. I own the same kind of AKGs that they were recorded on. They sound fine through those.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, like, the way it was recorded, I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, it's Phil Spector,
His wall of sound.
right?
Did
Yeah.
someone
You know
say
that's where the band Wall of
Inspector?
Voodoo got their name from? No, nobody
Really?
said Inspector because I want to explain this real quick. Yeah, you know the band Wall of Voodoo? You know, Wannabe
Sounds,
Devo?
yeah, sounds familiar.
Mexican radio.
Uh-huh.
I'm on a Mexican radio.
Yeah, okay.
Mexican. That
Sounds
song?
familiar. Uh-huh.
It was like a really
That's all.
popular MTV hit.
Penny Lane is in my
They were like an off-brand. They were like an off-brand diva. Like I said, they were the other kind of big American synth band. But what's notable about them is that they got their name. Is the main singer had this big soundboard thing that he was using to make weird independent film soundtracks on. It's like a side gig, and a buddy came over and he was talking about how he was inspired to build it thanks to Phil Spector's Wall of Sound. Hey, man, this is in the mid '80s before Phil Spector was, Phil Spector.
Right.
Back when he was just a revolutionary record creator whose wife was murdered before he raped a kid.
How tasteful.
That's a story for another day.
Buddy came over and called his wall of sound a wall of voodoo because it was full
Oh.
of big electric organs and sounded very Doorsy and, just had a very off sound. And so that's where they got the band name from. And I've always thought that was just one of the most badass band names ever.
And unwillingly created the sound loudness war of the late 90s and early 2000s, ruining many of an album.
Yeah,
I
in
think
a way.
Slipknot won this sound war. Did they, or?
I think Oasis won the sound war with Be Here Now.
Never heard of them.
The biggest Britpop band. The Britpop band of all Britpop bands, and you're saying you've never heard of them?
Are you talking about Radiohead?
Oh my god.
Radiohead
No,
isn't a
Oasis.
Britpop band.
Anyway,
I thought
here
they
we
were.
go.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna come back to you.
Never heard of it.
By now, you should have
fuck's
somehow realized what you're not to do. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Said, baby, you're gonna be the one that saves
Okay, I think I
me.
recognize it now.
And after all, you're my wonderwall.
Shut up.
Like how you
Either
got more
rinse
names
repeat
like
for
hers,
5 fucking minutes.
Oh, please don't. Let's just move on, okay? Move on. There's too much
I
music
feel like
going
that
on.
was an
Imagine-
on-par rendition of the song.
Yeah, it was
No,
grating.
Yeah.
I
On
think my
point.
ears are bleeding. Let me check. Oh,
Hey, here, give me 1 second. I
Can
gotta
you
turn up
imagine
the
when that
gain on my
song-
microphone to a 12.
no. Let's not do that. Let's not ruin this podcast like you did the last one. Let's just move
Don't
on.
ruin any of them. Thank
Can
you very
imagine when that
much.
first
Um,
came out and somebody out there was like, hey, I like this song. And then it got played ad fucking nauseum.
I'm really glad I wasn't relevant to pop culture when the song was on pop charts because I already don't like it, and I already find every stupid frat bro with the song on their stupid acoustic guitar to be worthy of being put down like a dog in the street. But
Well, like, is it a popular song because of its ease to play, or is it a popular song because of its catchiness? What came
both,
first?
yes.
It's just that or that duo of catchiness and easiness to play, along with its repetitiveness that makes it.
Call it like I like to call it the annoyance trifecta in that it's catchy enough to get stuck in people's heads and easy enough that they can generally tap, hum, sing, play the melody, and it so it's repetitive, it's catchy, and it's just earwormy enough to get stuck in their head, but not earwormy enough to be a classic.
Right.
Much like "Who Let the Dogs Out" by the Baha Men,
Oh God.
except that
Who?
song is much less annoying.
who?
That's another story though. Can you imagine being like a popular band in your own country for years, and then coming out with that song, and all of a sudden having like international fucking fame? Like
Okay.
that's the penultimate song of your career.
To be fair, the Baha Men, are we talking Oasis or the Baha Men? Because the Baha Men by that point had already become nothing. They had originally started out as a legit group, and by that point they had been signed by the same guy who had created the Spice Girls and S Club 7, and he decided that he was going, and Hanson by the way, he also did Hanson, so you can thank him for all those monstrosities. Essentially, he specialized in the most sugary of sugar pop, and what he did was he took this really cool band that he had heard while he was in the Caribbean, and he hired the one lead singer, hired his nephew and two of his nephew's buddies, not Simon's buddies, but two of the ex-lead singer's buddies, and got rid of basically the entire band except for those three, and those three essentially became the bubblegum pop version of the band that you hear on that song.
Oh, kind of like what happened in China.
Kind of. Except worse.
Yeah. That's like. Ooh.
I mean, like Shinedown wasn't a great example. But no, it's like there is nothing of the original Baha Men in that group.
I haven't even listened to Shinedown.
Their first album's really good. I would recommend it. Give it a listen.
Oh.
But
I agree, that first album.
So speaking of shit, we recommend. Captain, did you listen to that Forever Lonely song I recommended to you?
I honestly don't remember. It's been.
It was by the band that we talked about in the last podcast. I said, hey, you should listen to that song. It's got a really catchy chorus and shit.
I don't think I did. I failed you. I must
right.
commit seppuku.
You
I have
failed me.
dishonored my ancestors.
Yep. Well, that's okay.
Are you waiting for us to stop you, or?
No, I'm gonna do it right now. Right now. Just give me a second. Just hang in there.
It's
Give
a
me
live
second.
listen, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourselves ready.
Except
This is where we
isn't
get
live.
demonetized.
Yeah.
Before we got monetized.
For the
I mean, it's
band.
gonna be close enough to or it's gonna be close enough to a live. I mean, it's not like we're actually ambitious enough to edit the episodes, isn't that right, Josh?
Hey, I do a hell of a good job at editing, man.
A hell of a job of taking your time.
Well, there's a lot of shit that I needed to edit, and it was a long as fuck video. I forgot to mention I almost died when making it. I cut myself in a specific spot on my wrist.
Stick.
And yeah, I actually it was actually when I was working, and I thought I was gonna bleed out, and I thought I was gonna bleed out. And as much as I tried to stay calm, I felt extremely lightheaded, and my vision went completely blurry, and I couldn't work for the rest of the day. Had to call my mom to pick me up from work, which is embarrassing.
Did you have to get 3 stitches in your dick?
Nope. I just got a Band-Aid and some gauze around my cut on the wrist. It's still there, but
a little
it
bit
should
of
be
blood
fine.
goes a long way. It could look like you're bleeding
Yeah,
out,
well, I figured that
it
it isn't a big deal. Like, it's not like I'm just shooting a whole bunch of blood out. It's just a little bit of a cut. It didn't reach the vein, but it was on the vein. That's what scared me. That's what made me go lightheaded and feel terrible.
I mean, it was probably more anxiety than actual, like, blood loss.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was anxiety, and I felt horrible. I had a nasty headache. I just was completely shut down. And that's what took me so long to edit that last episode.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling much better. I feel like I could pick up a fucking car, man. I feel like I could pick up a fucking monolith, man. Speaking of which, were we going to talk about it, or?
Yeah. You beat me to the punch there. I was going to say, hey, how about a monolith? But whatever, you beat me to it.
Well, I had to make the segue some way. So, there's a lot of them popping up or something, as far as I know. CNN covered it. After they ran out of things to say about Donald Trump and coronavirus and shit like that. I guess.
You sound like a Trump supporter.
Wait, what? Oh, shit. No. Okay, I'm gonna cut that out. So somebody remove that from the recording, please.
Yeah,
thank
right
you.
On it.
You're welcome. I swear to God, if that person doesn't cut that part out of the recording, I'm gonna kill him. Some monoliths, there's a lot of them. Is that going to be a problem?
We don't know. We don't know who's putting them there. I mean...
Are we invaded by Krypton?
What?
It could be
because I saw what monoliths look like. They look like those... they look really weird. They're like those shiny things. The shiny things that kind of looks like a sword on the side, but they're probably square.
What does that have to do with Krypton?
Krypton? Because Krypton from the Superman movies looks like it has those things as well all over the planet, right? At least in the old Superman movie.
Are you referring
or in the ship?
Are you referring to Kandor and the fact that it's kind of postmodern in its design?
I guess. I don't even fucking know what Kandor is.
Kandor is the city that Superman lived in before he
got launched. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. As you can tell, I'm not a Superman fan. So
I mean, as long as they're not big black rectangular monoliths and there's no monkeys with bones around them, I think we'll be okay. But I mean, still, just the fact with all the shit going on with the the COVID.
Just to be on the safe side, we'll just quarantine for a few more years. The monoliths go away.
No, my guess was that it was like the clown thing, and that it was just something that one person did to fuck with the people, and then everyone else jumped on it.
Right, mass hysteria. But I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that it's happening internationally, I mean, there has to be a mass like collaborative effort because I mean, with all the airports and international travel being
Wasn't it mentioned that
limited
they
and
could
restricted.
be made by people? Like people could actually make
Oh no.
monoliths, or is that just a thing that's?
Yeah, they're like giant pieces of steel. I mean, you could probably make one if you have know your way around a blowtorch.
That's why I think it's just one person and a bunch of copycats. Or it's like a group of people who planned it months out in advance, because it really
Okay.
wouldn't be that hard to ship things like that cross country or
So
cross
it's like
globally.
Canada where you build snowmen. You just see a lot of snowmen everywhere, and you're like, yeah,
Well,
that was
Gotta
made by
build the
people.
barracks,
I
build
guess
the
that's what
bombs.
monoliths are, right? That's why there's so many around the world. Because people are building them, or are they just popping out of the ground like fucking saying
I mean, nobody's seen them get placed. I mean, it could be aliens.
that's the thing, we don't technically know.
As long as it's not xenomorphs, I'm good.
Well, it wouldn't be
Oh,
xenomorphs. That's not really their style. They prefer
yeah,
to attack a base in Alaska.
they're more face
Yeah.
huggy.
Well, I'm never gonna go to Alaska, so I'm not worried.
Or, no, Alaska. Fuck. Antarctica.
Well, I'm not planning to go there either, so I'm not worried.
These monoliths aren't even that big, though. I mean, they're
They're
between
like
6
6 or
and
7
10
feet.
feet
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still. I mean, it's got to be kind of heavy. I mean, it's.
Well, I'm just saying it's not
steel.
like impossibly heavy. Like, it's still movable, you know?
Well, can you just imagine, like, if this is in fact an art project? You know, the years of planning this probably took, and the coronavirus hit, and they're probably like, "Oh, fuck, let's do it anyway. We've come along this far. We can't give up now."
Let's get it done anyway. Was that a good
It's
Scottish
about time.
accent? For a second
Sure.
there, it kind of sounded like you were trying to do a Scottish accent.
Yeah, it's trying.
They're just
I knew
big
it.
steel pyres, though. I mean,
What if they were big steel dicks, and if you rubbed them enough, they'd shoot out
Make a lot
cum?
more sense. They'd definitely be American, though.
And then we'd use our dicks to come on it, and it'd be like Billy Corden, whatever, Billy Corden's dick all over again.
What?
I mean, it's just, I just can't get past the idea that it's probably just a group of people doing it, because I could absolutely see a group of a couple hundred people being able to fund something like this.
Yeah.
And I feel like we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks if it is or if it's not.
Right.
If it is, then those people need a hobby. If it's not, then we got aliens. Illuminati confirmed.
I mean, it could be something as simple as like an art class or like these new age like how to go viral classes. All right, class, for your senior project, I'm gonna need you to make something that'll hit international news.
I would believe if
Monoliths.
it was just one in Utah, but where it's up to half a dozen in various countries all throughout Europe, Asia, and North America, it's hard for me
Right.
to believe that's one student's doing or even one class is doing.
Behold the power of networking.
I just can't see.
So it's the internet that's causing the monoliths to appear. I see.
I mean, maybe
When
it's
in
just
doubt.
like well, it's probably just a group of fans for like 2001: A Space Odyssey or something.
When did that come out?
68.
68. So we missed.
It's not an anniversary of the film or anything. That was my first thought. Yes, we get it. You've seen the movie.
I've seen
Pink
bits of the
Floyd.
movie. No, actually, I've seen the whole movie. Hello, Dave.
So,
How are you
Pink Floyd
today,
was
Dave?
actually approached to do the soundtrack to 2001, and they declined because they didn't want to be labeled with a space rock. theme, which, of course, they had already had at that point. They actually changed the lyrics to the song Echoes, which also syncs up to the last 21 minutes of A Space Odyssey to reflect a underwater theme to also avoid the space theme. Fun fact.
I guess we're off of Monoliths now. More like mono dicks, am I right?
That's
even there's multiple reports that just a couple of guys took down the one in Utah. So it's really not hard to believe that it's just like a pop-up thing with a couple of pieces that a group of 30 to 100 people are just throwing up in these countries.
Hey.
They just have to plan a year or two in advance.
The more steel, the more merrier, right?
Call 1-800-Monoliths. Order your Monoliths today. You can confuse the shit out of everybody. Order now.
Good one. I bet that commercial actually does exist.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Fucking funny.
At this point, nothing's shocking anymore. I mean, look at the beginning of this year. We held so much promise, and everything went to shit. So
yeah. Well, look at Bronies, for example. I was like, well, if that wasn't shocking then, it sure ain't shocking now. What does shock people nowadays? Certainly not edgy comedies.
Well, whipping out your dick in front and masturbating in front of people shocks people still.
Oh, Louis C.K., yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Louis C.K. is quite the masturbator. I actually saw Dave Chappelle do a bit on Louis C.K. It was quite funny.
Dave Chappelle is funny.
Oh, yeah. You know, I still feel bad for him after that shit that happened to him in Connecticut with the fucking hecklers.
Right.
I'm glad to see he's recovered quite well.
You know what else is shocking, too? Getting beat up and abused by your girlfriend, and then having her come out and say that you're the abuser, and proving that she was the abuser, and then still getting all your shit
Depp thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that a reference to something that we're going to discuss later, or?
Perhaps.
Because I've only seen the first episode, by the way.
Wait, what?
I've only seen the first episode. I thought we were segueing into, well, blank know what.
Oh. No, that has nothing to do with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
No, that actually happened. Johnny Depp was beat up by his girlfriend Amber Heard. He had like cigarettes put out on him and shit. And then she came out and publicly said that he was the abuser, and he proved that she beat the shit out of him, and he still had his role in Fantastic Beasts 3 taken away from him.
Yeah, and Amber Heard is she's a shitty actress as well. She fucking sucked in that Aquaman movie. I hated her in that.
I think somebody started a petition to have her role in Aquaman replaced by Johnny Depp, which would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
there's actually more legitimate polls that are trying to get her replaced by someone else in Aquaman. I forget who.
Like Brie Larson?
Oh,
no, like an actual redhead.
Oh, fuck.
Why would they have
Paltrow? I don't know.
Oh, it was someone I can't remember.
Fuck. I'd watch Brie Larson play that girl.
Why?
I don't know. I think she's kind of cute.
Yeah, I think you
okay, but that has nothing to do with her acting ability.
Well, they're both equally talented. That's why I'd say she fit to the role just fine.
I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard, Isla Fisher. I mean, there's plenty of.
Yeah.
I would actually love to see Bryce Dallas Howard take the role. That'd be awesome. She looks like her, unlike Brie Larson.
Right.
Did I mention
Brie Larson gets plenty of money by being being a fucking Captain Marvel.
Doesn't hurt to have more, right?
Which, talk about fucking Mary Sue.
Oh god, she took a character that was already kind of insufferable and she took it to a whole other fucking level. We do not need her in any other movies.
Right. Captain Marvel was probably my least favorite Marvel movie ever made.
Why are you defending Brie Larson?
I don't know, because...
Oh, Fantastic Four.
Basically her pet project.
I mean, I do feel kind of bad for her, especially with all the shit she
Why?
gets.
She brings it on herself. All her coworkers can't fucking stand her.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway,
I don't
Rumor
know.
goes that
I thought it was
rumor
just
goes
based
that
on the
Cap.
one thing she said about how she hates white men
One
because
thing,
of
it's
A
based
Wrinkle
on
in Time or
dozens of
something.
it's based on dozens of things, and her being a pain in the ass on set, and her messing with her movie scripts, and it, rumor is that she's the reason that RDJ fucking stepped away from the role of Iron Man.
Really? Wow.
That's the rumor.
That's crazy. Wow. Hey, did you know that Brie Larson has a YouTube channel?
Oh, God.
Why do I have a feeling that you masturbate to that every night, and that's the reason that we're having to hear about her right now?
I'd say it's a guarantee.
No, I don't do that. I'm a clean Christian boy.
So,
It's you.
I just learned about sex from you guys.
Anyways, you.
what about
Hey,
me?
what about him? Or me?
Are you talking to me or him?
I'm not doing this bit.
Are you talking about... What are you talking about exactly?
Netflix is you is getting a season 3 here soon, so Cap made us watch the first episode of the first season.
Yeah. So, I got a little, not a spoiler, but a little tidbit for you guys that I
Spoilers for you, episode 1, by the way. So,
yeah.
should probably mention that from now on.
I don't know if you guys know this. This was based off of a book.
I'm not surprised.
Written by a woman.
I think I've seen. I think I saw like the credit sequence showing some woman names or something. So again, not surprised. But go on, Cap.
So I mean, there's not much to preface this with. You is a Netflix series with starring Penn Badgley of Gossip Girl fame, where he plays basically the same character.
Okay.
So the whole premise is that he is a bookstore clerk, and he is working in seemingly New York City as said bookstore clerk, and has a unhealthy obsession with old books. And that is, the little bit of backstory we get so far.
Well, yeah, unhealthy obsession with old books and a girl or something, right?
Yes. So
established in the first episode.
A attractive female walks in his shop with an interest in a book, and in the F through K section of the bookstore, no less, F through K, what's that, little subtext there, puts on this whole nice guy shtick, like, oh, let me help you. I'm going to help you find this book, and I'm not. Does he get her number from there, or
if I recall correctly, he uses the guise of his shop's thing to get her number. He didn't actually directly ask for it.
Yeah, he like stalks her or something.
Yes. So then he goes home. He gets her. She gives him her full name. He gets home and starts stalking the ever-loving shit out of her to the point where he actually gets her address. But something I want to circle back to real quick. He also has the dubious, I guess, task of gatekeeping books and shaming people for reading, Dan Brown, which, I mean, arguably, granted is less than, less than great fiction, but, I mean, people don't read anymore, so...
I didn't see that in episode 1, but...
That was in episode 1.
It's like the first scene.
Yeah,
like, look at this guy.
It establishes him as a hipster douchebag.
Right.
Oh, I have trouble remembering that, I guess.
So, and then also early on, we see him being friendly to this Paco child. He's a kid, this Paco character, trying to establish some sort of sympathy. Like, oh, this Joe, he's a good guy. He's nice to this Paco kid with the abusive
With the
family.
abusive, yeah, the mom getting the shit beaten out of her by the stepdad guy or the boyfriend.
And then I don't know if you guys noticed in the scene in his so after he finishes his shift at the bookstore, he goes to his apartment where he meets this Paco, he sees this Paco kid that he's friendly with, and then he opens his fridge. And did you guys notice anything strange about that fridge?
There wasn't like any food in there really.
Not a goddamn thing except for a jar of mayonnaise.
Yeah.
What's that tell you about a person?
He gave up his own food to a kid to try to establish that he's a nice person, and he still has some food in his fridge, but
Only a psychopath keeps nothing but a jar of mayonnaise in his fridge.
well, I'm not an expert on the whole psychopath thing, so I wouldn't have known that.
What are you trying to say? So then he proceeds to go to the internet and starts stalking this complete stranger and criticizing every aspect of her daily life, her friends, her boyfriend. And as over the top as it is, it's kind of an eye-opening insight on how much personal information we willingly give away.
It was so weird
through
when
social media or open windows.
I'm sorry if this is a little too early to say, but I found it really fucking weird when the girl decided to finish giving herself an orgasm with like a pillow or something. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? Yeah, like how how does a woman shove a entire pillow up her vag? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I think it was more so the friction than the actual
Friction. So it doesn't matter how big the dick is, as long as it's the friction, that's fine, I guess, right?
I don't think you understand what a clitoris is.
I don't understand vaginas because
We'll save the anatomy lesson for but behind the podcast. Anyway,
yeah.
So eventually he gets her address and stalks this woman to her apartment, which is a first floor Manhattan apartment. Which, I mean, I can't imagine is very cheap, and she's apparently living on a TA stipend, which doesn't make any sense, that it would be a first floor Manhattan apartment, and has absolutely no curtains on her windows, and you could see her every move.
Why doesn't she have curtains for her apartment? Is she that fucking poor, I guess?
Because it's intentionally designed to poke fun at rom-com tropes.
Really?
The entire show is meant to make fun of 80s and 90s rom-com tropes.
Well, I didn't really get the fact that it was trying to make fun of rom-com tropes. I thought it was just one of those, oh, there's a guy and he's a psychopathic stalker who stalks his girl.
Yeah, that's the whole point, because in rom-coms, they're always psychopathic stalkers, but it's played off as romantic.
I see.
Yeah, actually hangs a lampshade on that, too. He mentions, like, this is just like a rom-com, or just like your rom-coms, or he mentions a rom-com at some point.
I don't remember him saying that, but I guess that just shows how bad my memory is.
I think. I mean,
when he explicitly says something about rom-coms, that's what turned me on to it and made me pay attention to the rest of the episode. Is it was totally just meant to make fun of every shitty 80s and 90s rom-com that you've ever had to sit through.
Well, anything that makes fun of shitty rom-coms, or which are basically all rom-coms, I'll give a 9 out of 10 right off the fucking bat. So, thanks for that.
So,
fucking romantic comedies, they fucking suck.
Inaccurate thing I've noticed so far is the fact that, according to this, wearing a hat out in public makes you completely incognito, and no one will recognize you. Put on that hat, and you're a completely different person.
Would you say that's another thing that they make like self-referential shit on, saying, "Oh, he wears a hat, so he's completely a different person"? Do they reference that, or is that just something that they didn't know is like a cheap cliche in rom-coms and shit? I'm asking because I'm not sure about that stuff.
I mean, I don't think there's been any rom-com that goes just so as far as to have the dude wait outside a woman's apartment for several hours watching her go through her daily tasks to the point of having sex with her boyfriend.
Yeah, and him
I mean,
jerking off to it in the
it might be
bush.
a police song, but
I
that's
like
that's
that
the
he's
thing.
like jerking off to it, and then this old lady comes down and he grabs her like luggage with the hand that was touching his dick. It's
You know,
fucking
that part. But that's yet another attempt at painting him in a sympathetic light. Like, look, see, he's not so bad. He stopped jerking off to help that old lady. He's nice.
yeah, sure.
And how is it that no one notices
And
him
then
standing across the street and gawking and jerking in the bushes for 30 plus minutes? Depending on how
and
good
then
boyfriend.
there's a bit of cum on his hand, and he puts it on the luggage handle, and then the old lady says, "Oh, thank you," and grabs it and is like, "What is that? Ugh, ugh, ah, get off! What the hell is that?"
But
I could just imagine that happening. That would have been funny.
then, like the boyfriend, like her. So while she's in her apartment, the boyfriend comes and sees her
He comes
presumably for
in
a booty call.
and comes, but she doesn't.
That's the stereotypical shitty boyfriend.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of psychological manipulation with the boyfriend too. What does he say? He likes the extra weight that makes her not seem desperate, and then it's a backhand comment.
Yeah, the buck, he
Has
saw
like a
her.
positive spin
Yeah.
to it too. So it's just like trying, like gives her that little bit of candy before slapping her in the face. Kind of leaving her wanting more, so she'll still have that attachment to him.
Yes.
So
He's like a he like controls her and shit.
right, and that's apparent throughout the show that it's
Uh,
you know she's strictly a booty call to him, and essentially our main character here, Joe, is Shawn Mendes, and he sees I'm going to treat you better than this man, better than he
I'm
can.
eat you better than
he
he
kind of has
can.
a Shawn Mendes look, doesn't he?
He
A little
kind of
bit
acts
curly
like
hair.
Shawn Mendes in that song too, which is kind of the point.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Fucking.
this is basically an hour-long music video for "Treat You Better," but
But it's being done in it's being done better.
so yeah, and
Because
then
Shawn Mendes didn't mean for a song to sound the way it did. It just did.
It's white
Bob,
nice guy out anthem. White nice
yeah,
guy
it's just
anthem.
that White Knight.
Nice
I'm gonna
guy
be your
anthem.
protector.
I'll be
I
the
don't know if you
one
guys
who can
remember Jesse
treat you
McCartney,
well, unlike those
but
douchebags. Why
Jesse
won't girls
McCartney
go out
back in the
with me?
early 2000s did a song called "Leavin'," which is pretty much the same concept. Tell your boyfriend that you're leaving, you're never gonna come back again. You found yourself a new man.
I mean, this guy's a
Same
fucking
concept.
psychopath. Like, he's straight up insane. Like, all
Right,
you
but
just
I mean,
have
as
to
far as the
do
songs
is give
go,
him the personality that he likes to watch anime, and there you go. You got the perfect psychopathic stalker serial killer guy who does all
but
sorts of terrible shit.
and the thing is too is he doesn't realize it. He sees himself as her protector. I will protect you.
He
Whenever
sees
back,
himself as a perfect guy. He's delusional. He's
right.
delusional as fuck.
It
Like, what the
has many
fuck?
parallels to the Catcher in the Rye. Also, as I'm going to protect you. Only I can save you. I'm the Catcher in the Rye. Same parallels. Everyone else are
I've
phony.
never seen or read Catcher in the Rye.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend
it shows.
it.
I guess. But I did read Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Not really the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Or similar at all.
Still
so
just as edgy, right? They're both kind of edgy
No.
books.
Catcher in the Rye inspired the death of what was probably the pop star of all pop stars.
yeah,
Perks of Wallflower inspired a shitty Emma Watson movie. They're not
and
comparable
Okay.
at all.
and the book sucked anyway. So
A Catcher in the Rye or Perks of Wallflower?
Catcher in the Rye. Perks of Wallflower was god awful depressing. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a bad book.
I'd say that was the worst book of the two, to be honest. I feel Catcher in the Rye is a fine book. And I feel like diving into the study of the whole John Lennon, I don't want to say story because that makes it seem cheap, but
Right.
I
Assassination.
don't know how to put it. Well, not just the assassination, but everything leading up to it and following it. Everything that Mark David Chapman did is just fascinating.
Right.
In fact, I've read his biography. Let me take you down.
I
It's
just
really
read the
fascinating.
tale of Scrody McBoogerballs.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, I personally, I hold Yoko Ono responsible. So.
Okay, then. Can we wrap up our thoughts on you?
I really liked it. I thought it was a very good first episode, and I might want to see more of it. I thought the acting was really good. I liked the cinematography. I thought the dialogue was pretty decent. The monologue thing was... It's not, like, entirely original. Like, there are plenty of other shows that have done the same thing, but I still find something quite endearing about it. And, yeah, I think the characters are
really
kind
well
of alright.
written.
Yeah.
There's a lot of foreshadowing, like when he meets the mom's like when he meets the stepdad in the hallway. The stepdad says, I don't like you. You're a bad guy. I don't like, I know what you're up to.
I think that guy's gonna die. The stepdad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
my guess.
we think like, okay, the stepdad's an asshole. We're not going to listen to him, but he's right. And then, basically Beck plays the stereotypical damsel in distress trope, where like constantly manipulated by men, she's manipulated by her professor, by her boyfriend, by Joe, the main character.
I thought she was playing the professor, just kind of using him
still being manipulated. I'd say it's a
she's
pretending
to be. I'm not sure.
And then he walks into her apartment at one point, like completely nonchalant. Clearly he's done this before.
Yeah, I like when he almost gets caught in the shower and shit.
Oh right, yeah, that was pretty,
like,
yeah.
That was pretty
funny. That's what
funny.
it was. That's where he mentioned, "Oh, I'm in the shower. She'll find me. It'll be like any other rom-com movie." That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, he is describing a book repair, how you have to, strike with the right amount of force, and you can't be. And it's like, all right, he's clearly not describing the book repair, because in the next, scene, he is seen beating the boyfriend's head in with the mallet. And, he manipulates a pretentious asshole by being a pretentious asshole.
And he locks him in the glass thing.
Right. That, kind of reminds me of the cage that they had Magneto in what was it, X-Men 2?
It reminded me of the cage that they locked the guy in was it Mission Impossible Rogue Nation?
Nobody knows or cares about Mission Impossible movies, especially the later ones.
Fuck Toppers.
Hey, he was good in Collateral.
Fuck the Church of Scientology. Look everything that he's made in the last 30 years.
Separate the art from the artist.
Okay, the films weren't good to begin with. What's your point? They were popcorn movie garbage to begin with. I guess I might see the most recent one because it's got Simon Pegg in it.
You're such a fucking hipster.
That happened because Simon Pegg wants to get more Hollywood roles.
I mean, good for him.
Why else was he in Star Trek?
That's also why.
Sorry. Go ahead. You were gonna say something
about the show. My final thoughts were what
about the movies or something. Simon Pegg.
Oh yeah, he's trying to get more Hollywood roles, and you can tell because he was just recently in fucking The Boys.
Dude, sweet.
Nice.
He plays the Daddy Huey.
The Boys.
Don't ever say that again. Before we get
to our final thoughts, there's just a little thing I noticed. I'm sure you guys noticed that his coworker, the kind of pudgy.
Yeah, he's a comic relief. He wasn't that great.
If the roles were reversed, this show would not exist, because the main character Joe gets away with all he gets away with because he is attractive. If
Yeah.
he was not attractive, he would not have gotten away with standing in the middle of the street, to the point where at one point Beck falls on the train tracks. If that was the other guy reaching a hand out, she would have said, "No, I have a boyfriend, actually." And she would have gotten fucking run over.
Yeah, welcome to reality.
Yeah.
The guy looks like a mesh between two other actors. One of them that comes to mind is Andrew Garfield. I forget the other one, but yeah, he looks like quite the pretty boy.
And he was in Gossip Girl, too, I'm told. Well, I've never actually seen
You
it.
already mentioned that.
I never saw Gossip Girl.
But,
Already mentioned that.
I never
So-
saw this. I never listened to that. It's like I'm completely isolated.
Alright, gentlemen, final thoughts?
This is a good show. You should give it a shot. I'm talking to whoever's watching this, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's worth giving a chance, and I might watch more. It's better than
Rating?
like 99% of all the anime I've seen.
Okay, rating?
I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was alright.
Yep, thoughts?
So, I mean, there's not, at face value, it's a standard boy stalks girl, removes everything that stands in his way, but with a real world twist. It also is a sobering reminder just how much information we put out there on a day to day basis for the whole world to see, and just how vulnerable we really are. I have seen the first and second season. Second season, not only is it better than the first season, but it also has the honor of being better than the second book, which it's loosely based off of, which doesn't happen very often. I don't know. It's a guilty pleasure of mine because you absolutely love to hate the main character. He's a fucking psychopath,
He's
and
terrible.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what's so endearing about it, but for me, I give it a 7 out of 10.
And you, Conquest?
I found it to be a pretty good pastiche of old rom-coms. I feel it did its job just fine. I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. Wow.
Wow,
That's
impressive.
8.5. It's not an 8, but it's an
I did not see that coming.
8.5.
You don't need to hold on to the bit for that long.
I guess I didn't. Well, that's how it goes.
I would recommend
Drag
you guys
things on for too long,
finish the
baby.
series. Because
Full disclosure, I've seen the first season.
you have, okay.
I'd seen it back when it came out.
Oh, all right. Well, the second season's better.
I'll watch more of
plan
the
on
first
watching it when I
season,
get to
and
it.
I'm hoping it's really good. It just
Yeah, the second
continues
season-
what the first episode did, because it was a very good first episode.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. I could see myself watching more. I really could.
I would recommend it highly.
Definitely. All right, so we mentioned this before. We have a Discord. If you would like to join, then
Somebody keeps forgetting the link.
the link is in the description. No, it is not forgotten. It is in the description of the video that will be out, or is currently out. As of recording this, it's not out, but once it's posted, it's out.
Well, really, you mean
We're
these
so
don't get
fucking
posted
meta.
the second that we make them?
Isn't that so meta? So, be
So what
sure
are you guys
to.
doing this weekend? It's Friday at 7 o'clock.
I'll be working on the weekend.
Jumping off the Perrine Bridge.
I'll fucking jam myself with heroin. The
Oh,
girl
yeah,
Have fun
is
with
the
that Jimmy
heroine.
Chamberlain.
Brie Larson, she's a heroine, isn't she?
Oh, for fuck's
She's
sake.
a Mary Sue.
So on this
Get her in
wonderful,
bed.
wonderful note, on this
Conquest.
wonderful fucking note, on this wonderful fucking note, I say we end the episode
Yeah. How do we end it, though?
like I just
Roll
did.
credits?
Oh, no.
Roll credits.
We end it by adding
Fuck Lenny
cheap
Kravitz.
plugs.
Oh. Well, fuck my credits.
Roll credits.
And to everyone watching this right now, I just want to let you know, going back to what we were doing the whole time, I adore you. Thanks
And
for
you
watching,
in this case,
guys.
a giant cock.
So be sure to subscribe to Product Placement Paranoia on YouTube, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at PPP_official. I also have another Twitter account that is at MetaHuman72, and I have another few YouTube channels like Haverin, Josh Review 77, which I barely use, and subscribe to Why We Shouldn't Do Podcasts as well. As for you, Conquest,
don't subscribe to any of those other than the last one that he said.
Right.
All
And
the rest
also,
of them are various levels of shit posting. But feel free to subscribe to Stargarden Studios.
and feel free to just subscribe to the Automatic Machines and the Electric Boogaloo Orchestra, also on YouTube.
and I'm gonna cut out everything Conquest just said, so it's nice.
You fucking better not.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Nah, that's ignorant.
Why? It was a bit.
Roll credit.